Ladies and gentlemen, race goers from South Africa, we wish you all a warm welcome to the show race preview. And we are back in action this week with the 26th meeting on the card, 26th meeting which is going to be organized by the People's Turf PLC with 8 races on the card, and some of them are quite interesting, with not an easy one coming out in terms of who can win those races. And to help us analyze the race card and find a few winners or those who can get the places, we have none other than Devon Habib with us in studio. Devon, good morning, and how are you?
Yes, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Yeah, very good. That was a good week in Mauritius. Very sunny, so it's been hot this side.
Yes, it's been hot, and this probably leaves us with a very good truck, which is going to be at 2.8 units, and we don't have any false rails this week, so we can expect a few interesting performances, especially in terms of the time factor, Devon.
Yes, surely the times are going to be pretty decent this week again, and it's an exciting race meeting, very tough racing, hard card, but I think we'll find our winners soon.
That's what you're here for, to give us a few winners, and we're going to see how many of them you've got under the cuff. So we are going to start with race 1, the Teresa Panin Cup, a sprint of 990 meters. For the horses in the benchmark 020, where we have number 1, Trackbuster, number 2, Capcuta, number 3, Mezuzah, number 4, Rain Must Fall, number 5, Badawi, number 6, 7 Frul, and number 7, Special Force. So Devon, what would be your picks for this one?
Yeah, so this race looks quite an open race, very tough, but there's one also that stands out to me, and that's number 5, Badawi. Then for second, I like a bit of Capcut, and number 2, number 4 for third, and number 7 for fourth.
5, 2, 4 and 7 are your choices here. We're going to move to try to understand why you've picked those horses. So number 5, Badawi, with Alvin Roy on board, will have a claimer, so will carry 3 kilos less than the carded weight, which is 61. He's drawn number 3. He wasn't disgraced last time out when he finished third, but only 0.35 length behind the winner, Edge of the Sun. However, the only downside to him is the fact that he is going to come back after a spell, despite having had only 1 run, which was on the third race meeting.
Yeah, look, it's that's probably the only negative factor to this horse. I mean, if you're looking at the positive factors, let's say if we had to put Walls of Dubrovnik in this race, it would be a no-brainer to banker that and make that your best bet. So it ran 7 ends behind Walls of Dubrovnik a second, and I think this is a much weaker field than Walls of Dubrovnik. So I really fancy this horse. I mean, its first run out for the season, close up third to Edge of the Sun, got a good draw, claim 3. I think this horse is the horse to beat. I mean, it's working well, so, and it likes the 990. So I really fancy this horse quite strong in this race, actually.
Capcuta? Look,
Capcuta's got decent form, working well, nice looking horse. Got the claim on as well, so I mean, I think this horse also should have a chance. It's a drop in distance, which might be the key, and I think it's going to go close. I think this is the danger to the favourite, or to Badawi. I think that's the favourite come race day.
Number 4, pair draw trained Rain Must Fall.
Look, Rain Must Fall, very nice horse, decent Mauritius form. Also got the claim up, and the only negative for me is probably the draw. It's drawn quite bad over 990. It's vital. It's a very bad draw for them.
Number 7, Special Force.
Look, I like Special Force a little bit. I mean, it hasn't run this season, so I mean, its previous form. So take it its last 4 runs. That's eye-catching, but I think it might just need this run, and it hasn't run this year yet. So that's the only reason why I haven't actually tipped it to be my first selection, just based on the fact that I don't know if it's ready yet.
So you'd stick to your selections, which are going to be number 5, number 2, number 4 and number 7 in this first race of the day. Let's move on to the second race, the International Day of Older Persons Cup. It's going to be run over 1,850 meters, benchmark 31. Again with 7 horses, namely number 1 Eagle's Vision, number 2 Inauguration, number 3 Global Spectrum, number 4 Senor Dunn, number 5 Bellagio King, Number 6, Heart of Darkness. Number 7, Seoul. Your picks here?
So my picks in this race are 1 to win, 3 to run second, 6 to run third, and 4 to run fourth.
1, 3, 6, 4. Let's go to the analysis with Eagle's Vision, number 1.
Look, I really like this also, Eagle's Vision. I think it's got good form, and it won very easily last time. I think it should go back to back. Really like this horse, and yeah, we got to watch its previous run. It's sitting second with a grey cap, and it just turns for him and it pulls away from the field like there's no other horses in this race. It wins convincingly. Should do the same again come race day.
Probably he's going to also be like quite easily in front. The fact that the other horses that could have showed intention of leading are Heart of Darkness and Seoul, number 6 and number 7, and these two are drawn just next to him, one inside of him and one outside of him.
Yeah, look, I think the draw isn't really vital in this race. Over 1850, I think he can overcome that draw, and he's not going to have to fight too much to get to the front. I think it's going to be a kind of easy lead for him. Maybe Heart of Darkness will challenge him for the lead, but I think he should get there quite easily, and I think he'll stay there. If not, he sits second and do as he did last time and still win.
Global Spectrum, horse number 3 with Jamia Ali Hussein on board, 60 kgs, drawn number 1.
Yeah, look, it's doing quite well. I mean, it's penultimate started one, so it's picking up. The form isn't that bad. It's in good form. Got the draw, Ali Hussein above, and I think this is the danger.
Number 6, Heart of Darkness.
Look, the eye-catching run to Heart of Darkness, or the eye-catching run from Heart of Darkness is the run to Partner in Crime. The only negative is a little bit the draw, but it's got the claim 4 on it. It's in good form. I do like this horse a bit today. I tipped this horse to run third, only because it's a massive step up in distance, and I'll have to see. Obviously, it ran a short up second to Desert Thief when it stepped up to the 1850. So I think this horse will go close. I mean, I don't know if I can put my head out and say it will win, but I think it will go very close.
Number 4, Senor Dunn.
Look, Senor Dunn's form is probably the best form out of the rest of them. So that's the only reason why I've selected this horse. It's got the draw. Jacobson up is a good rider, and Simon Jones' horses are looking really good at work. So I think this horse should have a small shot.
So your choices here, number 1, number 3, number 6 and number 4, which takes us to the race number 3 here, which is the Senior Citizens of Lower Plain Williams Cup. It's going to be run over 1,500 meters with 6 runners, namely Ticket Tikeru, number 1, number 2, Arnhem Land, number 3, Oxford Blue, number 4, Walnut, number 5, Ladderman, and number 6, Poetic License. So your choices here?
Yeah, look, it's a very open race once again. Bear in mind that it's not open to the whole field, in my opinion. I feel like it's between the number 1 and number 2 in this race. I'm going with number 1 to win, number 2 for second, number 5 for third, and number 6 for fourth.
So just globally, tell us why you made those choices.
So look, there's a lot of talk about this horse, Arnhem Land, and it's got really strong South African form. Its first 2 runs here in Mauritius were eye-catching, and now it's stepping up in distance, and I think this is the danger to the horse that I'm selecting. So I really like number 1 based on the Mauritian form. I think this horse is ready to win. It was very unlucky last time out, close up second, and I feel like it could be a quick double for the jockey. Good draw, claim 3, so it should, in my opinion, it should win. I fancy this horse quite strong today.
The other horses, number 2, number 5 and number 6?
Look, number 2's form is impeccable. Like, it's got really strong SA form. If it brings that to Mauritius, which it hasn't really disgraced last 2 starts. This horse should win quite easily with that form. It's its 3rd run. I'm going to have to not stick my head out and say it's going to win this meeting, even though it could come race day, it could win quite easily. It's the danger, in my opinion, Ticket to Cairo, or could we say it's the horse to beat. But I'm not happy with the draw, and I just need to see if this horse will go the 1500. It's never gone that far in its life, so I just want to see how it goes.
Ladderman.
Look, Ladderman's barrier draw was extremely good. It worked really well, and it needs to improve on its previous form. So hence why I've taken the chance to select this as my 3rd selection. It's got a draw 1, claim 4, so it's carrying 55.5 kilos on its back. And I really think this horse is going to bounce back to some SA form, with the run. I mean, not much to look at on form, but it should go close.
And Poetic License, number 6?
Look, same with Portico license. It needs to prove that it's got some form, and I'm not too strong about it. But there's not much else in the race that catches my attention. So something has to run 4th, and I feel like this could be the horse to run 4th.
So your choices are going to be number 1, number 2, number 5, and number 6 here.
Yeah.
Race number 4, the FLAC Senior Citizens Association Cup. 1,400 meters, 4 horses between a bracket of 0 and 25. 9 runners here. Number 1, Anderson. Number 2, French Rebel. Number 3, De La Vista. Number 4, After the Order. Number 5, Into the Mystique. Number 6, Unbelievable Lad. Number 7, Duke of Abercorn. Number 8, Owl's Legacy. And number 9, Crack On. Your picks here?
Look, this must be the toughest race I think I've ever seen in Mauritius, to be honest with you. I've changed my selection 4 times here. I'm going to stick my head out and say number 3 should follow up on its previous one. So number 5 to run 2nd, number 7 to run 3rd, and number 1 to run 4th.
3, 5, 7, 1. So Anderson is number 1 here. Drone 1 will be carrying top weight 61.5 kgs with Jamir Ali Hussein on board.
Look, I think number 1 is got decent form and it's really running well, so I'm not really strong on this horse. It's a strong race. I think this horse could run in the first 4, but I'm not too strong on this horse to win. I think it could run 4th. That's the way I've selected it to run.
Number 3, De La Vista, who won last time out for his debut here in Mauritius.
Look, De La Vista is a very nice horse. Like, I think it won really well first time out, and I'm quite confident on this horse. I've chosen this to be my 1st selection. I mean, not many horses win first time out here in Mauritius, and this horse won a good race first time out. So I'm quite confident this horse will win. I'll make this my fancy on the day.
You've also taken in your selections horse number 5, which is Into the Mystique, with Alvino Roy on board. He's going to carry 57.5 kgs. Due to the fact that he is ridden by a claimer. He's drawn number 9. He was not disgraced last time out over a distance which was way longer. That is 1,850 meters, where Eagle's Vision was just too good on the day.
Yeah, look, I really like the form line behind Eagle's Vision. I do fancy Eagle's Vision on the day, so I've got to like that form line. I'm making this my 2nd selection, as I think this is the danger to De La Vista based on its last 3 runs. So I'm going to put this as my 2nd selection. It's in good form. Just the draw is negative. That's why it's not my 1st selection on the day.
And Duke of Abercorn, number 7, with Ben Habib.
Look, initially this was my 1st selection based on work. This horse is flying at work, and you can see, I've put the work up on the screen. It could show up and it could win, but there's a lot of negative factors. Its last 3 runs haven't been the strongest, so it has to prove to me that it can win. But based on that form, it should go very close. I mean, on that work, it's not the form, sorry.
So Duke of Aberdeen, who is never yet won a race here in Mauritius in 5 outings. One horse that we might be looking at in this race probably is number 8, Horse Legacy.
Yeah, look, I did want to speak about this horse. I feel like it's really working extremely well, and like I said the last time, Simon Jones's horses are looking really good, and this horse is catching my eye a little bit at work. So I want to see how this horse goes. It's only its 3rd start ever, and I want to see if this horse could maybe prove something. It's got a decent draw. I think this horse is the one to watch.
3, 5, 7, 1. These are your selections for race number 4. Let's move on to race number 5. The Rivière Noire Senior Citizens Cup, 1,850 meters, benchmark 46, 7 runners here. Number 1, Puget Sound. Number 2, Paddington's Luck. Number 3, Arlington's Revenge. Number 4, Charleston Hero. Number 5, Moschino. Number 6, Bernardini. And number 7, Snowy Mountain. So what would be your picks here, Devon?
Look, I'm gonna take a value bet this race, and I like number 4, and number 2 to run 2nd, number 5 to run 3rd, and number 7 to run 4th.
4, 2, 5, 7. These are your picks. Let's start with the explanations and analysis with number 2, Paddington's Luck from the yard of Samraj Mahadia. With José de Souza on board, 61 kgs. Will be jumping from number 3.
Yeah, look, I do like this horse. It's got strong form, good jockey up, and I think this horse is working really well. It's caught my eye every single day at work, and it's gonna be a good race. I mean, if my value bet doesn't show up, I think this horse is the horse to beat. It's going well, and it's run against stronger horses, so I think this horse is the horse to look out for. That's why I've tipped him to run 2nd.
Number 4, Charleston Hero with Robbie B. Carey on board, 58 kgs, draw number 5.
Look, the draw is decent. It's not the best draw. I mean, there's only 7 horses in the race, but I don't know. This horse has just really caught my eye at work. If you can see how this horse is working, there's a story behind this horse.
Yeah.
I was driving up to work and I was doing about 70 k's and this horse was beating me, so hence why I like it. So this is my value bet on the day. The form doesn't really tell you much, but just based on work, I'm gonna stick my neck out and like this horse as my value bet on the day.
Moschino number 5 with Dennis Rods.
Look, I would think Dennis would be on the right one in the race, but literally, like I was saying, it was just a story based on that. It's got good form, and I'm tipping it to run 3rd. It's going to be quite tough to beat Charleston Euros on that work.
Snowy Mountain number 7.
Yeah, you see, this is the horse that I'm like catching my attention. Yeah, I think this horse, they've put the blinkers on its last. They haven't put the blinkers on, and now they put the blinkers back on, and its runs with the blinkers have been extremely good. I mean, a length behind Absolutist is phenomenal. That also is nominated for the Maiden Cup. So yeah, I really think this horse is going to run a big race, and it's normally run really good races with the blinkers on. So I think this horse can do something come race day.
So your choices here are going to be horses number 4, or number 2, number 5, and number 7.
Yes.
Let's move on to the main event of the day, that is race 6, the SMP GMLS Senior Persons Support Cup, 1,400 meters. It's a group 3 with 5 runners, namely Undercover Agent number 1, number 2 Wolves of Dubrovnik, number 3 Liquirio, number 4 ID Tarot Trail, and number 5 Pietro Mascagni. So I'll ask you for a selection of 3 here.
So look, my first 3 in order of preference would be number 2 to win, number 1 to run 2nd, and number 3 to run 3rd.
2, 1, and 3 here. So Undercover Agent from the yards of Ricky Mengard will have Ben of Fediab on board, 59 kgs on the back, and will be drawn 5 out of 5.
Look, a very classy horse. Undercover Agent's a really, really good horse. We all know that he can run with the best, and don't have to really say much about his form. He's proven that he's a good horse. I think this is the horse to challenge Wolves of Dubrovnik, to maybe to maybe beat him, but I don't see it happening. I think they're running for second, and this is also to run second in this race.
Waltz of Dubrovnik, horse number 2 from the yards of Shamerchand with Andre Louis da Silva, 59 kgs on the back. Drawn number 4. This is a horse that a lot of his owners say it's a horse of a lifetime. 9 races here in Mauritius. He's never been beaten yet, so he's looking for a 9th consecutive win. Looking at the card, it's not going to be easy, but looking at what he has done so far makes us believe that he can do it yet again.
For me, I feel like it's going to be easy for him. I feel like he's going to win convincingly. I don't see much beating him. The form line was frank this weekend with Blackburn Rock winning. And I think 2 or 3 horses in that form line behind him came out and won this weekend. Yazia, as you can see on the screen, this horse is sitting about 3rd on the rail, so it's 5th on the rail with the red and yellow red sleeves. He's special.
Yeah, but at some point, looking at this race, the way they were going, we thought at that point that probably he's not going to win this time out. But like you said, just put him wherever you want. He's just going to give you everything out. Here, we think that he's never going to find way forward, but it opens up for him, and he just like accelerates like to score a nice win and another convincing win.
The jockey was very confident. He had a confident race. He didn't really get into it much. Didn't get vigorous or hit it a lot of times. So I feel like there's still more to come from this horse. As much as you can't really do much better than what his form line says, but this horse is probably gonna win quite convincingly, in my opinion. I'm very strong. This is my best bet on the day.
So that is Waltz of Dubrovnik and horse number 3, Likeryu here with Jose da Silva, 59 kgs, drawn 1. A horse that has changed completely this season and has going to be very competitive.
Yeah, geez, very good form. It's second to Cartel Boss. Cartel Boss is the top horse in Mauritius. Was almost unbeaten in Mauritius. Got nipped a short head the last week. Very nice horse this, and look, his form line's good. I don't think he's as classy as Undercover Agent and Walls of Dubrovnik, but I do think his form says it all, so he's improving, and he's got a good draw. Hence why I've tipped him to run 3rd. I don't think it's going to be much more than 3rd, but yeah, that's where I'm tipping him.
So your choices are going to be horses number 2, Waltz of Dubrovnik, horse number 1, Undercover Agent, and horse number 3, Likeryu. Moving on to race 7 on the card, the District of Pamplemousse's Senior Citizens Council Cup. 1,400 meters, benchmark 56, 9 horses. Number 1 is Emblem of Hope, number 2 Master of Illusion, number 3 Emerald Bend, number 4 Portico, number 5 Culture Trip, number 6 Battle of Malaysia, number 7 Cyber Special, number 8 Duke's Domain, and number 9 Baluchi. What would be your picks here?
Look, I've always had a fancy for this horse, Emerald Band, so I'm going to tip number 3 to win, number 1 to run 2nd, number 9 to run 3rd, and number 4 to run 4th.
3, 1, 9, 4 are your selections here. Let's move on to Emblem of Hope with Andre Louis da Silva, 61 kgs, drawn number 4. This is a very nice and decent horse here. 8 outings so far, 6 wins, 2 times second. Almost looks like a banker here, even though he will have to work for it.
Yes, very nice horse. Form line says it all. Extremely strong form, and he's the horse to beat. He definitely is the horse to beat. But saying in that, I don't know so much if this horse is going to win though on the day. I do like him. I do tip him to run 2nd. I'm strong on number 3, Emerald Band. I think this is a serious racehorse. I really like the way that Vincent Allet's form is in. I mean, his stable's in really good form. Dennis Schwartz is riding at the top of his game, and he's got a decent enough draw. I think Emerald Band in a good space. I think he'll go very close, yeah. So for me, it's going to be hard to like stick and say Emblem of Hope is going to win when I really fancy Emerald Band. You know, he has Emerald Band's workout, and he's honestly flying at home. He's doing well and in a good space. I think Dennis is going to take him to the front, and they're not going to catch him. They're not going to peg back. He's going to stay there, and he's going to be a challenge for the front because of Emblem of Hope. But I think Dennis is going to be quicker, and I think he'll bring it home for us.
The good thing for Emerald Bend is the fact that he can just sit just close to the lead and fire in the final straight. He doesn't necessarily have to be in front.
Yeah, look, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he gets to the front and there is a challenge for it, he could always just slot it in and sit second. But I feel like it's gonna be a different race today. He's gonna probably lead, if not second, and turn for him, make up that ground that he needs to make up if he's not in front. And I think he'll go on to win a convincing race. Yeah.
Horse number 4, Portico, from the yard of Alain Pedro with Bernard Fedeb on board. Drone 1 will be carrying 60 kgs. Portico is a 15 times runner where he won 2 races and 6 other times he was placed. He's going to be having his first start here in Mauritius, but he's showed that he's got quality.
Yeah, nice horse. I know him from SA, very quick. I think his form line's really good, strong form from SA. Obviously, the only thing that's negative for me is that it's its first run. If it had 2 runs, I would have been confident on this horse. And look, it could obviously pop up and win an easy race, but I don't know so much. I think the draw's there. It's got the favourable draw of 1. So, look, I'm going to make him my 4th selection in this race. Hence the fact that it's its first run. If it wasn't its first run, I'd be quite confident.
And number 9, Baluchi, from the yard of Vicky Rui, will have champion jockey Ride Rowan on board, 56.5 kgs, drone number 2. He started his Mauritian career with a bang, winning at his first start where he was on the short sprint of 990 meters.
Yes, it won a really good race first time out. I mean, if you had to look at the SA form, it would be expected though, but not over 990. So I feel like this horse will improve over the distance, the step up in distance. So this horse is the Dangers' biggest challenger. So I feel like Ura come in with massive confidence after winning the Maiden Cup, and good SA form, good draw. This horse could be anything, and I think this horse is going to run a good race. I like him to run in the first 3, so I'm going to tip him to run 3rd.
So your choices here are horses number 3, Emerald Bend, number 1, Emblem of Hope, number 9, Baluchi, and number 4, Portico. We'll move on now to the last race of the day, which is the Rivière du Rempart Senior Citizens Federation's Cup. It's going to be run over 1,600 meters, benchmark 41, with 9 horses here. Number 1 is Canary Island, number 2 Chapter and Verse, number 3 Gilboa, number 4 James Peter, number 5 Prince Half, number 6 Benev, number 7 Uncle Frank, number 8 Camp David, and number 9 Senor's Guest. Devon, what are the ones that you like here?
Look, I think it's a very tough race once again, competitive race. So I'm going to go with number 1 to win, number 7 to run 2nd, number 2 to run 3rd, and number 5 to run 4th.
1, 7, 2, 5. Let's move on to the analysis with Canary Island with Danish Rods on board, a last time winner.
Yes, very nice looking horse, doing well. I think it could just about lead in this race, and I do fancy this horse quite a bit. He's only a kilogram heavier to Uncle Frank for what's it, like a 3-length beating or something like that. So I do fancy the 4.5-length beating. I do fancy this horse to win again. I think he'll go back to back, and once again, stable of Vincent Allet, Dennis Schwartz combination in good form. It's going to be quite hard to beat this horse.
Chapter and Verse, horse number 2 with Bernard Fedeb on board, 60 kgs on the back. Drone number 6, he was not disgraced last time out over the same distance where he ran 2nd, but 3 lengths behind Heike.
Yeah, look, the reason why I've selected this horse to be my 3rd selection is because of its its last start. So 2nd, 3.5 lengths to Heike, decent run, wasn't disgraced. Bernard up, good jockey. Yeah, this horse could win on the day, but drawn 6, and it's not too much of a good draw for a 1600 meter race. So I'm gonna tip him to run third. I'm not really excited about his form, but yeah, he's got a chance. And the first time he stepped up in the distance, he improved. So I think he'll go close again.
Horse number 5, Prince Alf from the yard of Sham Erchand with Andre Louis da Silva, will be carrying 58.5 kgs. Will jump from number 9. He was a little bit of a disappointment last time out. He was fancied. A lot of the racegoers were thinking that he would go to win first up, but he showed that he needed the run after a rest.
Yeah, look, he was also very unlucky in his last start. He had no.
He was slow at the gates.
He was slow, and he had no run. You know, when he turned for home, he had no room for a run. So I feel like he was just a bit unlucky. Wasn't really the worst run you could have had first time up, but I think this horse has to improve. I'm not really a big fan of a second run after layoff, so I'm gonna tip this horse to run 4th. Hence his last run. If it was his 3rd run, I would have been a bit more confident, but just because it's had 1 run in Mauritius and now it's 2nd starts, I'm going to tip him to run 4th. Yeah, I'm not really confident on him.
And finally, you also included in your selections horse number 7, which is Uncle Frank from the yards of Pravin Nagadoo. We'll be having Clément Bachamia on board, so he will be only carrying 56 kgs instead of the 58 which is carded. We'll be jumping from number 5. He's shown that he's on the up in terms of fitness after these 2 runs of this season.
Yes, look, he's an improving horse. He's a really good looking horse, smashing looking horse, and he's working extremely well. He's a kilogram better off to the Canary Island Yazia working, and I really think this horse.
That's Uncle Frank on Tuesday last on his workout, in which he was quite good and looked to be nearing his best form. So we've gone through the horses on this last race of the 26th race meeting. Your choices here were, number 1, number 7, number 2, and number 5. So we've had a look at the 8 races. I would now ask you, before we end the show, about your banker and your outsider of the day. Probably hasn't been an easy job to find a banker and an outsider this time. I'm pretty sure if you want to play it safe, we can go on Wolves of Dubrovnik, for example, as the banker of the day.
That's definitely
in the
my
main
banker.
event of the day.
For me, that's the best bet of the card. I don't think he'll get beat. I'm very confident. It wasn't hard to find him. 8 out of 8. So, yeah, that's my best bet on the day.
Coming to the most difficult part, your outsider of the day.
My outside of the day has to be number 4, Charleston Euros. The story behind it, and yeah, I feel like this horse is going to have a massive run. I think that's the value bet for the day for me.
So Charleston Hero is going to be your value bet for the day. Devon, I only now have to thank you for being here on the show once again. We are going to see you again in 2 weeks for another race preview, South Mauritius, rather, instead of South Africa. So thank you, and well, good luck, and we hope that the picks you've had, they end up being the right picks.
Yeah, thank you, Abhijay. It was a pleasure working with you, and it's an honor to work alongside you. So I really appreciate it, and let's hope we can lead the punters in the right direction and give them the card.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our show, a race preview of Mauritius. We wish you luck for the coming race meeting. Hopefully, some of the picks that our consultant has given us today are going to be just right there. So, until next time, we wish you best of luck for tomorrow. You take care. Bye-bye.